G'day, welcome back to Semen Retention. To all my brothers holding on to their seed, keep going, fellas. We're going to continue on this little trend of Brahmacharya that I brought up in last episode and the episode before. So today I'm going to continue on this topic, the practice of Brahmacharya. So I'm talking about this book by Sri Swami Sivananda, which I referred to as the one and only semen retention book you will ever need to read. And I still believe that, but shout out to one of my subscribers that actually sent me the Bliss of the Celibate. I actually really look forward to reading that straight after I revise this. And I'm revising this because I think if you really want to grasp a concept, you need to revise it, okay? Straight off the bat, I'm looking at my music kind of guitar exercises here. Yeah, so just straight up normal kind of, easy guitar kind of things. And then it says, review, I can't see it, there we go. Review all material. Okay, review all material. So I keep playing the same exercises to really solidify the practice of guitar. The same thing goes is reviewing the practice of Brahmacharya to solidify my own practice and understanding of Brahmacharya, i.e. semen retention. So today we're going to do a bit of a summary of chapter 1. In the other episode when I was walking to the wedding was great, by the way, guys. It was a great day, just for you guys to know. But yeah, basically, I'm going to do a proper summary of this chapter now, whereas in the previous episode, I just did some little notes of things that occurred during the chapter. So let's have a little skim kind of read through this book. Okay, cool. Here we go. Chapter 1, the phenomenon of sex. This is section 1, actually, and chapter 1 is the present day degradation. So in this chapter, Sri Sivananda is talking about the present day degradation. So the way that we're kind of like, basically we're destroying ourselves. It's that simple. So I'll just read the opening sentence and then I'll just get into some dot points. So the opening sentence is, there is a great illusion in front of man. It troubles him in the form of woman. There is a great illusion in front of woman. It troubles her in the form of man. Go wherever you like, Amsterdam, London, or New York. Analyze this world of phenomenal experience. You will find only two things: sex and ego. I think that's a great way to open your book. A great 3 little sentence like intro. So he goes on saying how sex fills the mind. It's like a prana energy, meaning like, prana is energy. So it's like it also fills our mind, our intellect, our energy, our whole body, We only really have sex and lust as a kind of feeling because it is our creator made it to find a mate and to procreate. That's the only reason why we have that lust kind of feeling. And it actually dominates our energy and our aura and all that kind of stuff. But he goes on to saying that basically we have become slaves to this now. We're letting ourselves become slaves to lust, and I don't think that's a way to go about it. He's saying man, master of his destiny, has lost his divine glory and become a slave, a tool in the hands of sex and ego on the account of ignorance. That's so true. As soon as you're aware of the practice of semen retention, you know how valuable these kind of lustful kind of sexual energies are and how you can't just deplete them for no reason. They are what give us this power. So sex and ego are the products of avidya and nescience. So I did some research. Avidya means ignorance, misconception, or incorrect knowledge, and nescience means absence of knowledge. So basically, sex and ego are the products of ignorance. That's what he's saying. It's pretty powerful stuff. Yeah, so basically he goes on kind of talking about a few things, and then he says, if he wishes to regain his lost divine state and Brahmic glory, remember Brahmacharya means the God path, so we're walking the path of God. If he wishes to regain his lost divine state and Brahmic glory, his whole being must be transformed. His sex desire must be completely transmuted by sublime divine thoughts and regular meditation. So to summarize this, in order to transcend these lustful thoughts, these sexual desires and all this kind of stuff, we need to we need to transmute these energies through positive, pure thinking, like through just seeing the beauty in life, but not being like super horny about it, just to be blunt. And, understanding that this is a physical sensation that you're probably wanting, and it doesn't lead to any sort of spiritual breakthrough. It doesn't lead to any sort of improvement in your own physical being as far as like maybe becoming healthier and stuff like that. So if you haven't got the point by now, there is only one benefit of sex, and that's to create a baby. The rest of it is non-beneficial. And I'll stand by that as, someone that's had a few girlfriends and, several sexual experiences outside of relationships as well. So, basically he goes on to saying that the world is all sexy, meaning that they basically filled our minds with sexual thoughts these days. We're in a sexual intoxication. I thought that was a great way of putting it. Like, we're drunk on sex these days. Like, we're consuming it, whether we think it's an actual thing that we're actually doing, or we're watching content like either online, or we're actually just watching something like Netflix or television shows or advertisements or even billboards. Even just scrolling on Facebook is basically soft porn these days, which is just crazy. He reckons that lust is at the root of all crimes, like robbery, rapes, kidnapping, assaults, murders. And lust is at the root of all these things. It's kind of true. Like, you think about like all those kind of mass shootings, it's always usually some incel that like got rejected or something, and then he just decides to kill a bunch of kids or something. And lust doesn't have to just be a physical thing. He goes on to say, he says, it may be lust for money or lust for carnal pleasure. So yeah, people are willing to do some pretty crazy things for power and money and sex. It's true. Lust ruins lives. Lustra, strength, vitality, memory, wealth, fame, holiness, peace, wisdom, and devotion. So basically lust erodes pretty much all aspects of your life. It's like an erosive. It's an acid. It's like something that eats you away, especially your purity, that's for sure. So man, he spits some bars in this. He basically says, man with his boasted intellect has to learn lessons from birds and animals. So he kind of goes on to say that animals have more self-control than compared to men, which is kind of true. Like, animals have like mating animals have mating seasons, and they kind of stick to those seasons. Whereas we're like mating, but we're not even procreating. We're just like mating within every day of the week. It's just, it's bizarre. It's pretty crazy, to be honest. So he has no self-control, modern day man. He's an absolute slave to passion, a puppet in the hands of passion. Like rabbits, he procreates and brings forth countless children to swell up the numbers of beggars in the world. That's some pretty harsh truth. Like, that's a bitter pill that a lot of people have got to swallow. Like, you think about all these people that face hardship, it's always because their parents had no self-control and they brought them into this world. They didn't have a union between the parents. They just had like a one night stand. The mum decides to keep the baby. The dad, he goes off, but he decides, he's going to pay child support and also take care of the kid in some way. The kid usually ends up pretty, rough around the edges, to be honest, compared to the usual kind of marriage of two partners that stay together and raise kids as a union. Like you can't deny it. It's that kind of classic religious kind of Christian or Muslim or Jewish whatever family that stays close usually raises like a higher kind of quality. Even atheists can raise like a higher quality child because the parents stay together. And you find that usually it's those kind of people in the lower socioeconomic kind of areas are usually breeding like rabbits, creating a lot of babies, creating a lot of stress in their lives, and they don't have self-control, and the cycle just continues and perpetuates itself. So, I love this part. As a king is no king without a treasury, subjects, and an army. As a flower is no flower without fragrance. As a river is no river without water, so also a man is no man without Brahmacharya. So basically, a man is no man without the preservation of his semen, which I think is so true. You can't really deny that. It's just facts. Don't argue with it. So I'll say a couple more things and then wrap up this video. We're nearly finished the chapter. Basically, Ahara, Nidra, Baya, and Matithuna. Did I get the definitions of these? No, not yet. Okay, so I'm going to skip this part. What differentiates a man from an animal, okay, is dharma, which is principles, meaning we have like a moral and a discipline and, like a law that we follow. We have viveka, which is discernment. We have discernment. We can kind of decipher, we're a bit more strategic, I guess you could say. We have vikarasakti, which is self-inquiry. So, reflection, all that kind of stuff. Jnana, which is knowledge. We have knowledge, we acquire knowledge and wisdom and all that kind of stuff as well. And only this kind of stuff can be secured through the preservation of vira. So vira translates to potency, but if you kind of read between the lines, he's saying that principle, discernment, self-inquiry, knowledge, wisdom, meditation can only be secured by the preservation of potency, i.e. semen retention. Okay, I'll say it one more time, really simply. Discernment, self-inquiry, principles, knowledge can only be secured through the practice and preservation of semen retention. Yeah? So, basically, he goes on to talk about the degradation of the modern world. And keeps on talking about the basically how we become slaves of passion and desires, which you kind of already discussed. And then, so he finishes on some of these notes. Moral goodness consists in renouncing of all sensuous pleasures. I think that's kind of true. In separating the world through discrimination and dispassion. So basically you need to start to discriminate, okay, is this coming from a place of pleasure? Or is this coming from a place of purity and a giving kind of I want to give to the world rather than take something for myself? And also being detached to things as well. In living solely after the spirit and imitating perfection and purity of God. That's basically what a moral goodness or a brahmachari would do. Whereas sensuality is inconsistent with wisdom and holiness. So yeah, people that are constantly in a state of anhedonia, which means basically hedonism, which means basically drinking, smoking, partying, having sex, all that kind of stuff, always inconsistent with their wisdom and holiness. So, last couple of points, here we go. Spiritual sadhana is the answer to sex attraction. Real culture is establishment of perfect physical and mental Brahmacharya. So it's the real culture is the realization of the identity of the individual soul with the Supreme Soul through direct experience. Yeah, so it's basically like understanding and maturing and having a kind of spiritual awakening comes to the point of understanding that we are all connected. We do have a higher kind of power, the Most High, God, the universe, whatever that is, helping us along the way. And we're moving with the kind of the guidance of God, We're not moving with the guidance of our sex and ego, as he talked about at the start of the chapter. He goes on to say the attraction for objects will gradually vanish if one begins to think seriously of the unreal nature of the world. 100%. So we start to realize that because we are more of a spiritual being, we don't need to be attached to the material realm. Yeah, basically that's pretty much all he goes on to. And then the last couple of highlighted parts of this first chapter is he basically says, people talk of Brahmacharya, but the practical men are rare indeed. A life of continence is really beset with difficulties, but the path becomes smooth for a man of iron determination, patience and perseverance. We want real, practical men in the field, men who are practical brahmacharis, men who can impress people by their strong physique, ideal lives, noble character and spiritual strength. Mere idle talk is of no use whatsoever. So he's basically saying we need people to stand out there, show their physical strength, show their geniuses, show their creativity, show their voice, show their creative kind of fashion or whatever they're into, and stand as a role model, as a human being that is living in the flesh, as a brahmachari, as a person on semen retention, instead of just being someone that sits in their car and makes these like, so the top 13 reasons why semen retention's gonna give you attention, and I just relapsed last night. I'm gonna make a video about it. Hey guys, it's okay to relapse. Why does everyone hate me because I relapsed? Like, just shut the fuck up, bro. You're a clown. That's what he's saying. It's like we don't need commentators on semen retention. We need actual people on semen retention. Okay, so yeah, basically, and that is a practical man, yeah? So we've had enough of idle talkers in a field and on platforms. This is before YouTube, he wrote that. Let some practical men come forward and lead the youngsters by their exemplary lives and spiritual aura. It's an auric thing, it's a real thing, guys. That's why I say I don't really care about the online kind of interactions with people. I know that when people see me in person, there's a magnetism. I've already experienced it enough. I don't need to get validation from people online. I'm doing this on YouTube so other people can be good and all that sort of stuff. And I might post on Instagram so I maybe get some advertising of my business out there. But I don't do any of this for validation, okay? I'm already getting enough validation from myself, but I also get even more validation from the people outside that see me on my purpose, because I am a practical man. I am a brahmachari. I am practicing semen retention. I am doing all these things and leading by example and inspiring people, and people are coming to me asking for some help. I'm helping them, and I like helping people. That's what I like doing. I teach music. I do a lot of things. Anyway, I'm going to go on a rant, but I'm not going to go on a rant because it's nearly 20 minutes in this video and I've got to go play a gig. So thank you so much for watching Semen Retention. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers guys, catch ya.